it's me again. I am home, but I thought I'd better do a video update and get down my thoughts and the details of the last day, not day 12, day 14 from the Crask to John O'Groats before I forgot any of the finer details or they blurred. So here we go, last day. Yeah, it was emotional, it was surreal. It was, yeah, just weird really. The first 30 miles were terrific, like the closing miles at the previous day. It was just terrific scenery, easy winding road that you could see and really whiz along on for a bit. Cracking weather again. So yeah, more of the same. And again, a favourite bit of the ride, really terrific. The organisers had us back at a hotel in LEJOG. Their ideas was, I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, they put the slower riders back at LEJOG, then some riders at the Crask, and then, faster riders back at LEJOG, other riders at the Crask, and slower riders forward at Altnahara. The idea being that the slower riders, because there wasn't anywhere to put everyone up in the same place anyway, and seeing as they like everyone to ride in together on the last day, they thought would give the slower people a bit of a head start, if you like. Not so that they'd actually sort of get there first or anything, but so I think they still knew the faster people would catch them, but just so that the faster people would have less of a wait at the end. Which is a bit of a shame really, because I really fancied staying at the Crask, because Lee had spoken about it on the training weekend in Leeds I did, and said how it was really great there, and it's a bit quirky and really sort of a bit different. So I fancied that and had asked if I could stay there, but I must have been too fast this trip because they put me back at LEJOG with the faster riders again. And then meeting up with Chris, one of the guys who did stay there, he said it was one of the nights of his life basically. It was just the location and the weather, it's so remote. And then apparently after they ate, Lee got a guitar out and did a bit of a strum and played a few songs, made a few songs up about the guys that were there. So that sounds like that would have been a really cracking night and right up my street. But hey ho, wasn't to be. They can't fit everyone in there, so shame. Back to the last day. Yeah, first 30 miles again were terrific. Yeah, went through some nice scenery. Scottish Graham and anaesthetist Michael, who have tended to be riding together, were just in front of me. And later on, when I chatted to them, they said they thought they spotted an eagle somewhere. So I just missed that, but we're in the right territory. They were about, by the sounds of it. What else? After the first 30 miles in the brew stop, the where we caught everyone up, so that didn't take long. The terrain got a bit trickier. More up and downy. Everyone was a bit excited and sort of last day at school sort of atmosphere and a bit of joking around, especially with the first 30 miles being so easy. And then the next ones were a bit of a rude awakening. I think people sort of realised, oh hang on, yeah, this is a bit of a nasty day when I think about it, and it is an 80 miler and it is pretty much up and down for the rest of the day. So that slowed people down a bit. Oh, the other thing to say about those first 30 miles was because I was sort of at the back. I knew I was going to catch the others. I was steaming along like the super fast guys. And that was really nice again. I was just having a chat with Lee, the Peak Tours guy. One of them always rides with the last person to make sure no one's sort of left behind or has any problems. Everyone gets swept up, as it were. So I was chatting to him for a bit and then whizzing off and having a ride. And I'd be lying if I said it wasn't a bit emotional, and I was sort of choking back tears occasionally, just sort of bit of everything really. The ride coming to an end, beautiful scenery, can't help but fall in love with that part of the world if you're riding through it in that way with that sort of weather. And just the thoughts about, you know, my mum wasn't far from my mind either, you know, hoping she'd be proud of me, what I'd done with the ride, and sort of, because she was Scottish, probably happy that I was sort of seeing Scotland at its finest and seeing some of the most remote corners with good weather, which everyone thinks Scotland doesn't get. So yeah, that was quite special, and that was quite emotional. Other things for the day, like I said, we caught everyone. then I hung around with the guys at the back. There's no point rushing along and just having to wait at the end. So hung about, did a bit of riding on the last day with the guys that I've done a lot of riding with, especially the last week or so as I've got more tired. A lot of headwinds. It's quite weird getting to the top of the country, seeing the coast, and then basically doing a right, and we had headwinds from then on, really. Pretty windy as well, but still nice weather. Some of the guys struggle with the hills, but there's no way people weren't going to make it, it being the last day. Yeah, like I say, just a sort of last day at school type atmosphere, really. The last 30 or 40 miles did drag a bit, because I think by then we had headwinds, it was tough weather, everyone was just sort of, tough terrain rather, everyone was just sort of ready to get there, and then, but you know, oh god, we still got another 30 miles into a headwind first. Went past an old nuclear power station, Dounreay, which Lee told me was one of the UK's first, one of our first stabs at nuclear power, and apparently it went a bit wrong or wasn't the greatest, and it's been pretty much, or I don't know if not abandoned but disused, and they've been trying to sort of keep it from going Chernobyl-like for years, and it's a bit, a bit unsafe. Not unsafe. I don't know. It's not quite as clean and 100% safe as it could be round there. So there was a few cars there though. So there's obviously people in there pouring water on something or whatever. I find that sort of stuff quite interesting in a macabre sort of way. So I'll have to look up about that place. But yeah, an old nuclear power station that's gone wrong a bit since. There's loads of wind turbines around as well. When I saw them turning, I thought, well, there's obviously wind, so that's either good news or bad news. And it's mostly bad news. It's mostly headwind. So that was about it. We got then until we got to Land's End. Obviously, we met up at a pub about 7 miles out, and then all rode in together. That was nice. Nice easy pace. Even Mike, old Mike, who had trouble about halfway through and had to stop riding. He did try again a couple of days ago, but he started on a day where there was a bad hill, and I think wasn't up for it. And he's been off the bike since then and struggling and not really hadn't had his breath much or whatever. But he got on the bike for the last 7 miles and could barely turn the pedals actually. But Ian sort of pushed him along. You can cycle alongside someone and put your hand on their back and pedal, and it sort of pushes them along. And I gave him a hand with that. It was a pleasure to do that and help him coast into Land's End to John O'Groats on his bike. And yeah, he was appreciative for that. I think it meant a lot to him to actually just physically get to John O'Groats and sort of riding on his bike, even though he's obviously not ridden the whole way. Just to get there with the problem he's had. So that was nice. Then the obligatory photos at the old signpost at, I keep calling it Land's End, at John O'Groats. Everyone got a few there. Everyone just got pictures of them with the signpost. I was the first to jump up there with my bike and sort of hold it aloft triumphantly and get a photo like that, and then everyone followed suit. Yeah, then I thought it was a bit late. It was about 6:30 by the time we got there, so unfortunately it was a bit of a rush, and everyone, once they got their photos, they sort of rushed off to the hotel, the Seaview Hotel, and to get showered and changed and ready and down for dinner for 7:30, which was the plan. But I after cycling 2 weeks to get there, I wanted to sort of hang around there and savour the weather, the moment a little bit really. So I hung around for 5-10 minutes after everyone else had gone and just sort of stood there smiling, basically thinking, bloody hell, I cycled here from Land's End, nearly 1,000 miles. I've actually made it. And then so enjoyed that. Bought a couple of crappy fridge magnets from a tacky tourist shop that was right there. The first and last something shop, the first and last rip-off shop in Scotland, I call it. But it's got to be done, isn't it, when you do it? Yeah, took a few more photos, and then turned around, cycled up about 200 yards up the road to our Seaview Hotel, which was a weird moment actually turning the bike round and cycling the other way. For the first time in 2 weeks, not cycling towards my destination. So that was quite a poignant moment as well. But that was surreal and good. And then like I say, quick check-in, quick wash and change, and down for the last supper, as it were. They handed out certificates to everyone. Everyone in good spirits, obviously, and chatting. It's baking hot in there. Everyone was boiling up a bit. And a couple of Lee from Peak Tours just made a speech saying, "Well done, everyone." Blah blah blah. Collected a bit of kit that's still in the van. We had a collection and gave out cards and stuff to the 3 Peak Tours guys. Lee, Neil, who's been doing the brew van all the 2 weeks, and Graham, who have all been brilliant, absolutely brilliant. So it's nice to thank them. And that is it. And then I was on for a bit of a party, actually, and really getting it on. But everyone was whacked. Most of the guys on the trip are a bit older, or a lot older, and or cycling maniacs, so just not as much into a beer as me. So everyone had a few, but it wasn't a wild night by any stretch. I think I had about 3 pints, something like that. And then before we knew it, it was about 11 o'clock, which you don't realise because it's still broad daylight up there pretty much. Everyone was mindful of the fact that we had, we were still exhausted and we still had to get up early, get picked up by a van the next morning, and driven 2.5 hours to Inverness, and then make your way home from there. Either a long ride or a long drive, long train journey, or messing about on a plane or whatever. So we still had a long day ahead of us. So no one went too crazy. And that was the last day of the tour. Next morning, got up, had brekkie, and then, like I say, got run back to Inverness, where we all gradually split up and made our own ways back. Strange. We heard in the night that Mike had been taken to hospital, so he really wasn't well, and I think he'd just basically been holding it together as you do to get whatever you want done. So he'd been holding it together to get to John O'Groats, and that little sort of coast and ride in sort of finished him off. And apparently an ambulance was called in the night. He was taken to Wick Hospital, and got an email a day or two later. Apparently he's got double pneumonia. So I don't know what brought that on. If it was that bad day in Glastonbury where he'd got something, it just grew and grew with all the exercise and his body not being able to fight it off with everything else that was going on, or what. But best wishes to him. Hope he's well and getting better. And so that was a dampener and a sour thing on it. But touch wood was all right. And then we got dropped at Inverness, and then everyone sort of went their own way. Really, bit weird. You sort of spent 2 weeks with these people in a bubble and sort of shared a unforgettable experience, but beforehand they were total strangers, and with the best will in the world, you're probably not going to see any of them again. They're all sort of, everyone gets on with their different lives now. Like I've said, we're all from different walks of life, and different parts of the world, so there'd be a few emails and photos exchanged, but it's weird. It's like 2 weeks we'll always share, and a sort of unforgettable experience and bond, if you like, if that doesn't sound too cheesy. But like I say, we're not teenagers anymore. We're not going to say, "Oh, we'll keep in touch," and we'll never lose touch, because we're old and we know these things happen. But that's weird. And I had a couple of hours to kill, so I just stuck me bags in left luggage and wandered around Inverness town centre for a bit, and that was weird, sort of emerging into real life from my bubble. Not to sound like I've got too high and mighty about it or anything. I know it's only a little bike ride, but it emerging back into real life and just walking around the shops and whatnot. Something I've not done for 2 weeks, and it kind of did feel like, oh, it's like we've been some sort of performance athletes or sort of rock star or something, where you just ferried around, told what to do every day. Every day you get up, you have your breakfast, and then you're told where you're cycling to, you do it, and then you're told where you're eating, you have your meal, everything's done for you. Your bags are transferred, you're told where you're sleeping that night, you're told where you're eating, and you don't really think about anything. Like I say, it's a sort of bubble. That's certainly how the guys on the tour referred to it. And then sort of slowly emerging from that back into real life, walking around shops, seeing real people doing real things and doing something other than sleeping, eating, or washing or cycling. So that was a bit weird, emerging back into that. And then even more so yesterday, which is my first day back at work, I just had a bit of a 1,000-yard stare on and wasn't that productive. But again, slowly emerging from this surreal experience back into real life. Then yeah, jumped on my plane, got on, even though I was a bit worried checking in because they asked for photo ID, which I didn't have. Not flown internally for ages. I didn't bother taking the passport, but I didn't have any other photo ID on me either. And some of the other guys that were on the tour, which I was hanging around with at the airport, they're like, "What? You haven't got any photo ID? You're not going to be able to fly." So the heart rate went up a little bit there, but it is a quite daisy little airport, and I sort of went and had a word with them. I checked in nice and early, and they were fine about it. I had a couple of bank cards, and it wasn't an issue, luckily. But I'll make sure I carry photo ID in future, because that was a bit of a worry. If they hadn't let me on, I don't know what I'd have done. I had to go back to Inverness Town Centre and book up a 14-hour coach journey or something. That would have been unbearable. Jesus. Yeah, and picked up at Gatwick by Alice and my dad, and like I say, back into real life after that. Bizarre. And that was the trip. I won't really forget it. Like I say, I'm not really a natural. I haven't really liked doing these video diary things, but it's just been the best way for quickly saying a lot rather on the trip, rather than having to get Wi-Fi or having to jot everything down in a nice eloquent way on my blog. So it's a quick way of noting the memorable moments, and hopefully over the next week or two I'll go back and add all the finer details and write down some notes and add all the photos. So these have been for me as much as anyone else. I know they're not too much of interest to too many people, but they might be funny to look back on. So that was it. I did it. I'll never forget it. The only other thing to mention on the last day was our accommodation, the Seaview Hotel itself. I've mentioned before on the blog and in these videos, I think, that it's become a bit of an iconic place for me, just because there's nothing else in Johnny Groats apart from the signpost. There really is nothing there. And I'd got a picture of it off the Peak Tours or site or the Seaview Hotel site itself, and just sort of got a little JPEG of it and had that picture in my mind. And whenever I was training or whatever, it was like, that's where I'm getting to. So it was surreal actually cycling there on the last day, and sort of every pedal stroke now really is taking me closer there. That was my sort of mantra on tough training days. And then to actually see it loom into view, and then sort of get a picture outside and actually get there, like, as Tom would say, I have reached my destination. It was, yeah, weird. It wasn't exactly the Hilton. It's just sort of the what's the word? Not iconic, but the actual the emblem of getting there, getting to my destination, and that was it. So it was bizarre seeing it and actually getting there. So yeah, that was it. That was my Land's End to John O'Groats trip. Like I say, I'll try and update the blog, tidy up the days, put some more details in, put some thoughts in text and the relevant photos, because there's some crackers and it will help jog the memory. And that's it. I will stop rambling. This is nearly 20 minutes now. Jesus, no one will be reading this or watching this anyway except me. Thank you for watching. If you have been, keep an eye on the blog. There will be more stuff. Thank you.